Heat is also the enemy of progress. That was the reason why my growth was still being stunted. Before I had like transition and stuff, my hair would not go past like this length at all, ever. And the fact that my hair is like down here now, I'm telling you. There was just things that people did not tell me about natural hair, and I had to learn the hard way. So this is just some relatable content, you know? First thing that nobody told me was that wash days were going to take forever. Especially when you don't know what you're doing at first and you buying all new products all at one time. It's like, I don't know what to do. So here's to 6-7 hours in the bathroom trying to figure it out, trying to detangle, trying to figure out what and this and that. It's not worth it, sis. But now that I've got the hang of it, it takes me about like 2 to 3 hours. I feel like that's average, but I'm also extra and I do a lot to my hair, and that's like on wishes. I do like the whole shebang, but you can definitely just simplify it and have your own thing with like a basic simple regimen, and that is it. Like, you don't really have to worry about much. Nobody told me that natural hair products were gonna be so freaking expensive, but I feel like it just depends on what you're doing. Let's just say that, I mean, you're only spending $50 to $80 getting your hair straightened. And let's say that you're only doing it every 3 weeks. It doesn't seem like much then, because you're like, okay, yeah, I'm paying for service and labor and this and that. But when it comes time to do your own hair, like for real, and you're buying all these products and stuff, it feels like expensive, because it feels like, well, you've never done this before, so what the heck? And you're buying everything all at the same time. So you're like putting out $80 for all these products. But when you know how to shop right, know how to use like products in your kitchen, natural products can be costly if you don't know what you're doing. If you're going out and buying products here and there and just buying whatever's on the shelf because it looks nice, or you saw an YouTuber do it or an Instagrammer do it, then yeah. But you need to know your budget. Like, know what you will and won't spend, you know, how often you are going to spend it, what you can substitute for, what product is going to give you a multitude of uses. Figure out your budget. That is what's going to help you for sure. Nobody told me that detangling is the devil. Like, I remember one time I was watching Game of Thrones, right? I was like, oh yeah, let me just detangle my hair. I'll just watch Game of Thrones in the meantime. Tell me why I went through 4 or 5 episodes and I still was not done detangling my hair. Like, what? I tried to follow an Instagram or a YouTuber and like dry detangle. Yeah, no. When you know what you're going to be doing and what your hair likes and doesn't like, when you start to experiment, then you'll know, like, okay, dry detangling is not for me. Wet detangling could probably be for you, or damp, or in the shower, out the shower. Like, do you need a lot of water? Like, stuff like that. But when I was first starting out, like, I dreaded detangling. I dreaded it. So that's why I always went long periods between wash days, because I was like, I'm not doing this again. I refuse. Like, my arms hurt. Another thing that people didn't tell me was that protective styling is literally your best friend. Like, I think I was trying to wear my hair out so many times, and I was like, yeah, I need to let my hair breathe and this, but I'm like, you can definitely do a protective style, and it doesn't have to be like just a bun, but braids, twist, faux locks, a wig, a weave, like all that stuff. As long as you know how to take care of it underneath, that is the only solution. Like, for me as a lazy natural, that's just what we doing. That's just what I do around here. Like, protective styling is key to like retaining length. Well, for me at least. Okay, nobody told me that wash and goes is a misnomer. Wash and goes is not wash and go. It literally is not a wash and go. Like, who coined this term? I just want to know. They need to catch these hands, because wait they're not wash and goes, because you gotta like wash and detangle and style and define, and then gotta let it dry. Like, that is a complete wash day. Like that's like hours, you know? You're not going nowhere. Nobody told me that I was gonna become a certified researcher with like a PhD in curly hair. You know how you can just get lost in YouTube? You know how you just start searching things and then you just literally, now you're 6 hours deep into YouTube. You don't even know what you're watching at this point. But I feel like it's came to a point that I literally feel like I know any and everything about natural hair. When I was reading about porosity, I was like, oh, this shit is like I'm a chemist. Like I just be mixing products and like I'm a chemist, you feel me? Nobody told me that I was gonna have so many people trying to give me opinions about my own hair. Like, did I ask? Like, you'll for real have haters. People will say something about your hair. Some people will be like, oh, I liked it better straight, or I liked it better curly, or this and that. And but love your hair, because if you constantly think about what other people are gonna think about your hair, girl, you're gonna be struggling for a long time. Just do you. Learn to love your hair. Another thing that no one told me about when I was going natural was that health literally precedes length. What's the best way to say it? Cut it off. Cut it off. Healthy hair is way better than long hair. You're trying to do all this like look at my length, when really it's just being detrimental to your hair. If you have split ends, girl, and you're trying to keep them because you're trying to say, oh, I'm armpit length or I'm mid-back length, like, no. Long hair can be like an indicator of health. Yes, it can. However, if you got them straggly little trying to get it together ends, it's not gonna work for you. Learned that the hard way. My hair, when I was having all these setbacks and I was like, oh yeah, my hair is getting longer, but really like the ends was crying for help. It took me a long time to learn that comparing myself and my curls will literally kill my joy. It took me a long time to embrace the texture that I had, because when I had a lot of heat damage, like my curls weren't as coily as they were. They were a lot more on the wavier side. So I was like, oh yeah, like I'm popping, until I really had to cut off those damaged ends and that damaged hair. And then when my real curls were coming through, I was like, oh. That's what we're doing? Okay. But yeah, I was trying to compare myself to this curly girl or this one, trying to elongate my curls or stretch my curls. Like, if you just embrace your hair texture for what it is, also embrace and love your shrinkage. Like, I feel like a lot of curly girls will chop off their hair, but because they hate the shrinkage and because it's not giving them the length that they want, like it's obviously shorter because shrinkage makes your hair shorter, they will just slap a wig on or wear protective styles until they're comfortable, which is okay. But also, if you are really like being introspective about why you're doing those things, sometimes it can be that, oh, I'm not embracing the shrinkage, or I'm not loving my hair at this length. When I was first going natural, like I had cut my hair here. Like, I think I'll insert a picture, but my hair was like here, and I had like the blunt cut, like everything. So imagine when my hair curls up and I have like type 4 hair. So like most of my shrinkage is like 75%. So it was like, and it was like a blunt cut. So imagine, like, oh, I wish I had a video or something. Just imagine Dora. Bruh. I was trying to buy everything in the book, like stuff to elongate my curls, stuff to loosen my curls, like all these fraudulent ass products that people were trying to sell on the market, like, and sell on these shelves. I was like, now that I'm looking back, no, that's just not it. You really just gotta love your shrinkage, especially like those times where you are trying to show off your length and humidity is the enemy of progress. Just love, if you love your shrinkage, then you won't care. Heat is also the enemy of progress. Heat. And nobody told me, like, after I cut off my ends, that my hair was just gonna be so strong and I can do everything in the book. Like, no. Your hair can only take so much. That was the reason why my hair was still being stunted. Like, my growth was still being stunted because heat was literally killing my ends. And now that I know that the strength of my hair naturally, because I have fine strands, is weak, then I'm like, oh, okay, then I literally shouldn't be putting heat on my hair that often or that excessively or at that temperature. For the past almost 6 years, well, in August of 2019 it'll be 6 years that I've not straightened my hair, and I count that as excessive heat because that, I feel like, was keeping my hair so stagnant. Before I had like transition and stuff, my hair would not go past like this length at all, ever. And the fact that my hair is like down here now, I'm telling you, nobody told me that water is the #1 moisturizer. Like, nothing else is really going to moisturize your hair like water. And I didn't learn that until maybe like 2 years ago. I was thinking that, yeah, let me just oil my, like, if I just oil my hair, I'm moisturizing my hair. Or if I just put this styling product in, it's moisturizing my hair. Like, not really. Like, get your hair wet or like spritz it with water and like a mixture of like leave-in conditioner. Like, there's supplementary products that will help keep the moisture, and oils and stuff like that and sealants will seal the moisture in to like trap it, you know. But water is that thing that's gonna, like, you know what I mean? It's like your body, you thinking that juice is gonna hydrate you. Yeah, maybe a little bit, or like Gatorade, yeah, maybe a little bit, but water will really hydrate you. There's nothing else like water in this world. Nobody told me that everybody and their mamas was gonna be trying to touch my hair. Do you know how long it took me to perfect this Bantu knot? And you running your nasty, grimy fingers, polluting ass fingers through my hair? Whew. That's when I had to learn to like kind of, you know, like I had to throw, and no, I'm just kidding, I'm not throwing hands, but I had to just tell people to back up, like, or don't touch my hair, like, especially people who don't have my type of texture hair. Like, yes, some black people will touch my hair, but now I feel like people are more aware to ask first before they do it. And then a lot of times, like, people who aren't black, period, will try and touch my hair, and that's not cool to, like, I don't like nobody touching my hair but me. So that's that on it. The last thing that I feel like nobody told me about was that patience is key. I don't know what I was thinking, that when I cut off my hair and in a year's time my hair would be down my back. Where? In what life? In this economy? How? What? It's an uncomfortable change for sure, but if you stay patient, like when I was at my door, the Explorer cut, and now here curly, like my hair kind of sits here, it taught me a lot about patience and learning to love my hair and learning to be disciplined in what I was doing. Patience is key because it's uncomfortable when you do that drastic change. If people are used to seeing you with straight hair, you're used to seeing yourself with straight hair, so when it's curly, when it's shorter, you're kind of like trying to grasp this new image of yourself. Transitioning also teaches you patience because you're now working with 2 different types of hair types and struggling to maintain the length that you want without having to big chop right away. Patience in the same sense as maintaining your hair's health. Like, I remember in 2016, I felt like my hair was at my bra strap, but it took me a long time to get it past that length. Like, I was in this kind of plateau where I was feeling like, well, what am I not doing? And it was a lot of things that I was like, I wasn't maintaining my hair, maintaining the health of my hair, because now that I felt it was long, I was like, okay, whatever, like I can chill now, like it's cool now. But then your hair is kind of like, well, I can chill now too, like we're not going anywhere together. And learning your hair type, that is also going to teach you patience, because you're just thinking like, oh, I'm this curl hair type, or like type 4, type 3, type 2, whatever, and then within that like ABC or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you don't have that across your hair all the time. I had to learn that, like, the middle, the crown of my head and the back of my hair and the sides of my hair are completely different. Like, the sides of my hair curl up a lot more than the back of my hair, and the middle of my hair has like no definition. It's really frizzy. So I had to learn how to be patient with all the maintenance that my hair required. As people with curly hair, we require a lot more maintenance to begin with. So just learning how to deal with it, and what products apply to it, what porosity you have, all that stuff, how to like style it, how to style it in the workplace, like all those things teaches you patience and discipline. It teaches you confidence and appreciation for your hair as well. So that is all of the things that I feel like nobody told me about when I was gonna transition to becoming natural back in 2013, 2014 really, but here we are, and I think my hair is at its healthiest and its longest it's ever been. But it's been a journey for sure. But you guys should comment down below and let me know, what was it that nobody told you about before you went natural, or if you found this video informative. Be sure to like this video, comment, share it, subscribe if you here for this type of content, you feel me? And yeah, boom, boom, boom. We done here.